Hello, everyone. Well, today is Labor Day 2023, and Paul and I didn't get a chance to put out a Christmas video for 2022. We shot some footage on Christmas Eve, but we never really got to use it because of everything that happened. And I wanted to let you know what had happened. In September of 2022, Paul was diagnosed as having a form of skin cancer called Merkel Carcinoma. It's very rare and very aggressive. They did outpatient surgery and they thought that they got it all. In fact, they claimed he was cancer-free, and just to be sure, they did tests and scans in November of 2022, and they declared him cancer-free. And Paul was very, very happy about that. So despite everything else that was going on, we shot this footage on Christmas Eve. Welcome to our 2022 Christmas video. I know it's late this year, but there's been extenuating circumstances.
A few.
Quite a few. Oh, yes. This is Athena. Athena belongs to our new housemates, Joey and Jerry. Joey and Jerry have moved in to help Paul and I because Paul especially, because we just need help. We can't, oh, that might have been a bump in the microphone because she landed on the cable. Anyway, Deb moved in, and simultaneously we had a leak in the water pipes. We were infested with roof rats. It turns out there were 5 of these rats, and they did about probably $50,000 or $60,000 worth of damage. And our house is in total chaos. We don't have a kitchen. We don't have a living room, a dining room, or a family room yet. Everything is just topsy-turvy, and it's just...
You can see behind us.
Yes.
You don't want to see the rest of it.
Yeah. You don't want to see the rest of it, although I did film some of it. It's completely nuts. And so it's a miracle that we're here. And then Paul had a surgery to help control the tremors in his hand.
And then go ahead and just retrace my spiral. Okay. There we go. And then how about where your finger is, just write your name right there.
This is the worst part.
I know, and if it's any consolation, typically we don't let you even keep your palm down on the table. We have you just hold the pen, so we know how difficult it is. Okay, good. How about with your left hand, can you just connect the dots and then just trace my spiral? You don't have to write your name since you're not left-handed. All right. Okay then. All right, so we got our baseline.
Yeah, sign your name again, just...
Yeah, might as well.
because it was out of focus before.
Okay. And then bring them into your chest. And then turn them this towards your chest. And then can you open your fingers? Try to interlock them a little bit. Okay. All right, go ahead and relax. Segments of support, we're only on one. So, and how about hold it out? Bring it to your chest. Good. And turn it towards your chest. Perfect. Good. Okay. And then let's pull them up. All right. I can tell that the lead is exactly where it needs to be just based on how you are responding. So way to go, Dr. Ponce. Let's go ahead and connect your dots and fill in the spiral, okay?
From the left hand,
You're right. We're still working on the right side.
still on the right.
Yep. We're just checking every contact level.
Okay.
I was expecting this one to be wrong, but still, compared to the clouds and
Right.
everything,
Look
and
at
this is
that.
just
Holy smokes.
beautiful. And how about your name? Want to write your name?
Pete looks
Wow,
gorgeous.
that's almost like it always was.
Yeah, and
Yeah, horrible handwriting.
My normal bad handwriting.
how about let's take a pretend sip of water. Oh, you got that pretty good. Let's set that down. In this one here, Paul, we're only using a segment. We're using barely anything to control your tremor, and that's very, very, very good news just for replacement and then your battery longevity. So let's move on. I think we could move on to the left side now. So yeah, so you can go ahead and we're going to turn that side off now, and then you go ahead and hit done, and then end monitor survey. So that'll save it.
Okay, there's my baby Cece. She watches out for me and makes sure I'm making to and from bed.
Yeah, she's his little shadow. And whenever Paul leaves for physical therapy or anything, she literally stands at the door and howls until he comes home. She really loves him.
It's my baby.
Little did we know what was awaiting us. Shortly after we filmed that Christmas Eve footage, my beloved dog Rascal passed away. He was 19 years old, and it was his time. My harpist friend, Julie Husser, painted a beautiful watercolor portrait of Rascal. She really has a gift for doing this sort of thing, and Paul even thought it was a photograph. It was so good. Well, on New Year's Eve, conditions in the house had deteriorated so badly that the air was toxic, and we had 12 hours to move out, to move into a rental house that thankfully my homeowner's insurance paid for, because neither Paul nor I nor Joey or Jerry, our caregivers, could stand to live into the house anymore because it was really bad. Nearly Tyvek suits and air purifiers bad because of all the mold from all the carpeting. So we moved out, and that was kind of a mess, because even though it was furnished, you get there and you think, does anybody have a pencil? Did anybody bring paper? Do we know where the Q-tips are? I mean, you move and you have no idea of where these things are. On January 20th, we discovered that Paul's Merkel Carcinoma had come back, and with a vengeance. Everything circled in blue was cancer. It had exploded that fast. Of course, we were really concerned and kind of distraught at this. And it was February 9th before we could get Paul in to start immunotherapy. Not chemotherapy, but immunotherapy, which would have been far easier on his system to tolerate. Unfortunately, he collapsed during his first infusion, and he had to be taken by ambulance to the hospital. The less said about both the hospital and the skilled nursing facility that he wound up at, the better. It was truly something out of a Stephen King novel.
One for you, one for him.
Joey was able to bring Paul some of his famous scrambled eggs, which Paul absolutely loved because the food he got was absolutely horrible. And we were able to bring my dog Utsi, and then later his dog Cece, to visit him. Paul never seemed to make any real progress.
Very good. How you feeling? Tired?
Also in February, my home was burglarized. Fortunately, none of us were at the house because we were still in the rental house. But my Ring doorbell did capture the culprit.
Hi, you are currently being recorded.
Meanwhile, my home was still being repaired. We had to have movers come and take everything out of the house. All the furniture and everything was packed up into boxes. So it was extremely chaotic. And to say all of this was stressful is the understatement of the world.
Hi, Cece. Oh, there you go. Oh, good. Say hi to Daddy Paul.
Around the same time, Paul's beloved dog, Cece, developed a tumor of her own, and she only had a couple of days to live. I was able to get her up to see Paul, and she was perfectly fine while she was with him. She trotted up to his room, trotted back to the car, and once she got back to the rental house, that was basically it. She curled up in her bed and was no more. I asked my harpist friend Julie if she would do a painting of Cece for Paul, and she graciously did so. I had it framed, and I took it up to show to Paul. I know this is pretty intense, but this was Paul's reaction. Julie had said, I don't think I captured her very well at all, and I told her, oh, yes, you did. And clearly, from Paul's reaction, she captured the essence of Cece.
She did it of Cece for you. I think it really looks like her. She really captured her, didn't she? The eyes? But that way we can have her hanging on the wall with Rascal. We'll always remember her. I was going to send this video to her. Will you say thank you? So That's CC. It's totally CC.
Another level of madness started on March 15th. We found out that the house had been repaired and that the movers were going to come back with all of these boxes and all of the furniture. And we also found out that Paul was going to be discharged from this skilled nursing facility. And we had 2 days, just 2 days, to unpack the house and to try to get the furniture sort of put back together, to get the master bedroom put together, the bed frame put together, and all of that stuff, and get it ready for Paul to come back and to be able to turn the master bedroom into a sick room as well, or at least a hospital room, to have a hospital bed for him and all of the equipment he was going to need. It was completely and totally insane. But somehow, guardian angels showed up. Some of them were people that I didn't really even know, but they showed up at the door and said, "Hey, our conductor told us that you needed help. What can we do?" And so somehow in 2 days' time, we went from, does anybody have a screwdriver? Does anybody know where the towels are? To having a fairly functional house. I mean, we even found the coffee cups. And we were able to have the house ready for Paul when he came home. I had always promised Paul that I would bring him home and that I would let the dogs be with him again. And I kept my promise.
Come over here, let me kiss you. Let me kiss you. Get my sweetie.
About a week after I got Paul back home, he started having episodes. He would cry out and get very agitated, and he kept saying, "Help me, help me." And we'd all ask him, "What do you need help with?" And he would say, "I don't know." And I would ask him, "Are you in pain?" And he would say, "I don't know." On Friday, the 24th of March, at midnight, Paul started getting agitated again, and he kept yelling, "Help me, help me." I went up to him and told him, "Paul, there's only 2 things I can do to help you. One is to either take you back to the hospital, or the other thing is to call hospice." And Paul was vehement that he didn't want to go back to the hospital, and I can't blame him after the treatment and that Stephen King atmosphere he was in. So he said, "No hospital." And I told him, "Well then, the only thing I can do is call hospice. Do you understand what that means?" And he nodded and said, "I understand." So I called hospice. They were there by 2 a.m. And they got him comfortable. They got him the medications he needed to be comfortable. At that skilled nursing center, he was dying of terminal cancer, and the doctor, the quack doctor there said, "Oh, Motrin is all he needs." Well, hospice got him morphine and got him comfortable and got him calmed down. And I was so thankful for that, because he truly was resting and he was not in any discomfort at all. Finally, on March 29th, I knew Paul didn't have long. And I told him, the last gift I can give you, the last thing I can do for you, is to play my harp for you. So I did. I played for about an hour, and when I stopped, he slipped away within 10 minutes of me stopping playing. He was in no discomfort. His body language showed that he was completely calm and at peace. And Paul's sister Harriet wrote me later that my playing the harp for him helped soar him into eternity. Paul Snatic was my best friend for nearly 28 years. We could read each other's thoughts. We could finish each other's sentences. I can barely remember any time we even raised our voices at each other. We just completely clicked. We laughed at the same silly jokes. We both liked watching the same things on TV. I would point out camera shadows or microphone booms, and Paul would point out costuming mistakes and say things like, well, when he walked in the long shot, his shirt was buttoned at the first button, and then in the close-up it was unbuttoned to the second button. I mean, that's how Paul was. And that was the sort of thing he noticed, and we both enjoyed each other's company so much. And I miss him so much. Thank you to all of you who sent me all of these sympathy and condolence cards. I haven't opened any of them yet. I can't quite bring myself to do that yet. But one of these days, I'll be able to. But I just wanted you all to know how much I appreciated your thoughts and your prayers and your good wishes.
Popular. I know about popular, and with an assist from me to be who you'll be instead of dreary who you were, well, are. There's nothing that can stop you from becoming popular. Lar. La 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 la. We're gonna make you popular. When I see depressing creatures with unprepossessing features, I remind them on their own behalf to think of celebrated heads of state or especially great communicators. Did they have brains or knowledge? Don't make me laugh. They were popular. Please, it's all about popular. It's not about aptitude, it's the way you're viewed. So it's very shrewd to be very, very popular. Like